Kermit the Frog.
Kermit the Frog here.
Oh, that's good.
Kermit the Frog here.
That's really good.
Kermit. Kermit.
Welcome to the Martial Mind Podcast. We are three Kung Fu training brothers figuring out how Kung Fu interacts with our life, our health, and our relationships. Today, we got a few things to go over. We got how to maintain intensity and avoid burnout. We've got when breaks in recovery are justified, how to cultivate inner strength, and we also had a great workout this morning, so we're going to talk about that too. So, let's get into it. So boys, how are we feeling?
Oh, I feel like Thaden at the end of the Twin Towers. Like, my body is broken. We had Black Sash class on Sunday, and then I took class again yesterday, and I just, we worked out this morning. I feel like I've been steamrolled, but I also feel good, you know?
Yeah. It was Black Sash class, followed by, I worked out yesterday, and then a workout today. So it was just, my body is 90% Mott's applesauce. It's just sponsored by Mott's.
Like, no matter what I work outside of class, it's like always a mistake when I get to class that day, you know?
You find out your mistakes pretty quick when you go to class. You're just your whole life is just flashing before your eyes. You're like, I haven't filed my taxes yet. I really should repair my relationship with my aunt. And you're just like in class. You're like, you just need to go to therapy.
If there's any little thing that might be hurting a little bit, it hurts way more when you start training.
Yeah, emotional, physical, and spiritual, absolutely.
So you're broken, you're going to be broken-er.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, my God. I tried to, like... So at the start of the Black Sash class, we do all our preliminaries every single class. So, like, we're talking push-ups, sit-ups, planks.
I'm so sorry.
Why don't you open that bottle closer to the mic, Ryan?
Ryan's got the world's noisiest bottle.
I have like an internal ship hold door. Just to, it's watertight.
You got a submarine door for a Yeti or for a water bottle.
There's just 4 dead
Yeah,
sailors
but
in here.
we do our preliminaries every class: push-ups, sit-ups, planks, horse stance. We hold out buckets like the monks would, but no water. Obviously, we don't want to get the floor wet. The buckets, iron bridge, holding out a staff with buckets on the end of it. God, what we do? 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes? I don't even know. It's all a fever dream.
Try to do 4 minutes.
It's just an isometric hell.
Yeah,
and then it's like so. At the 200 push-ups, I tried to like really, really make every single one of them like full range push-up, like all the way up, all the way down, all the way up, all the way down, as quick as possible. So like my fast twitch muscle fibers in my shoulders and my chest just absolutely decimated. Just trying to do them as quick as I can and like full range of motion. So like yesterday morning, I could barely like reach back. You know, I could barely, I had an itch in the middle of my back, and I'm like...
Your chest is just
Yeah, I'm just, screaming and bleeding internally, it feels like. You ever, work out, and then it feels cold on the inside? No, just me, I'm dying.
My circulation
just leaking.
And then, so we all are told at the start of the class yesterday, which Sifu Leo is all about discipline. He's a very strict instructor, and that's one of the greatest benefits of taking his class is just how strict he is and how much that pushes you to get that martial discipline and that martial intent behind everything that you're doing. And naturally, I taught the class before that class, and I'm in chill mode, even though I tell him I'm taking class, and I'm looking at my fucking phone, and everybody else is lined up, and here I am at Black Sash checking my phone, and he's like, "Excuse me, you upset Daiji, what the fuck are you doing?" And then so we started class on the wrong note, right. And then we had 10 seconds to get our buckets and get back into position, and nobody made it in time. And so then what was the first thing that we did? Push-ups! Woo! So punishment push-ups, which are no fun at all.
Sad
and
push-ups.
I would wish for regular push-ups.
Oh, and I pushed the beginners through a very similar type of class.
Just depression push-ups.
And had them doing... I was like, okay, guys, we're only going to do 10 push-ups. Which, whenever I say that, it's never a good thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, we're only going to do 10 push-ups. I'm like, all right, 1. And we went really slow coming up. And it was hurting me, too. And then so the buckets are square and flat. And sometimes we'll hold them and hold them out. And then the idea is to squeeze and squeeze your chest muscles and keep the middle bucket up without letting it slide down or let the buckets fall apart, right? It's a very difficult exercise. And just to hold it isometrically. When I had them hold it for 2 minutes. And I'm pretending I'm not in pain. And I turned to Sifu Lloyd and I'm like, this fucking sucks so much right now. And he goes, man, you did it.
It's all your fault.
Like nobody told you to do it with the class.
There was a plethora of mirrors in front of you to self-reflect on your own choices.
See that guy looking at the mirror? That guy? It's that guy's fault.
That guy douche.
Douchebag.
But yeah, no, it was funny. But but also like good things are happening. Like we're getting ready for another kids and beginner test in the next month.
Yeah.
I'm really, really proud of how the undersashes are developing and growing and coming up. We have a lot of people now. The school. It was hard after COVID, and as I'm sure it was for a lot of the martial artists and teachers listening to this, that are either students or owners of their own dojo, kwan, gym, whatever you want to call it, whatever you call it in your system, school. Yeah.
School.
I'm sure there was a lot that. A lot of people out there that can relate to this, right? That the school, we were teaching classes on Zoom. We couldn't get together. We were barred from being in the building. You were going to get hit with tens of thousands of dollars in fines if you got caught teaching classes somewhere. So, there was absolutely no chances taken. And also people's lives. That's the most important thing is people's lives and people's health, and we didn't want to put those in jeopardy.
Trying to navigate that landscape, though, it was just so, incoherent. You had these restaurants that were building. You had outdoor seating was okay, but if your indoors was outdoors, it was all right. So you had these restaurants building structures in the streets, so you're trying to follow the rules, and those same rules applied to us. And it was just not in terms of dining, but in terms of just how coherent is this policy? Are we gonna get shut down over some bullshit that's just inconsequential?
I remember we took class in your backyard together one day because we were just I just want to take class with just take class together again. Yeah. And
we decided as a move for the school to move all of our kung fu classes to other local restaurants, outdoor dining areas. Just so it was safe.
So those structures outdoors in the street, you see them all over the city. They're still there.
It's fucking ridiculous. It makes absolutely no sense. It's okay, let's build another inside outside.
Exactly.
So that we can fucking go sit outside inside while we're outside.
If you can you can dine indoors if your indoors is outdoors.
Yeah.
It makes absolutely zero fucking sense.
For dinner we're having hypocrisy.
Zero fucking sense. Yeah. It makes no sense. It was just like a loophole.
And so we had to suffer under that for some time.
Yeah, absolutely. But regardless of that, but now what we're seeing is a new renaissance in the school. A more dedicated, because you know how it goes. One person starts, they do a month, they leave. Two people start, they do 3 months, they leave. And now we have people that are there seems like for a good long haul. People that are really dedicated and want to learn and want to push themselves and improve themselves. I won't call anybody out by name because I don't know if they want to be spoken about, but there's a few people in particular that I'm just very proud of their development. People who didn't even have the range of motion in their ankles, nips, and knees. Ankles, nips.
In their nips?
Ankles,
good
knees, and hips.
The monks were always known for good nipple mobility.
You have to have good nip dexterity.
It's that Jackie Chan shit right there. You can chain whip with your nipples. So
all assault becomes sexual assault at that point.
Long story short is people have been pushing themselves and have grown leaps and bounds, absolutely exponentially. Which brings me to the point you had discussed prior to recording. We're more prepared today. Okay, there's more on the list this time.
There's a few
more
things
on the list this time.
There's at least 3 things on the list. So we've got this right here, and it's titled. Look at that.
Oh my god.
So,
I mean,
it's titled in the paper, but it's not titled in the title area. So, that's
it's
for
there.
next week.
So
next week we'll put the title where the title goes.
I'm gonna get it right one of these days.
It's right if you say it's right.
When break/recovery are justified.
It's still in caps
All
lock.
caps.
It's he's just screaming at us how to maintain intensity.
That's how I maintain my enthusiasm. Just caps lock all day.
So I've discussed this before on prior episodes. Which also I will footnote, thank you everybody who has been following along. We have so many more plays on the earlier episodes that have absolute shit quality than we do on the later episodes that have much, much better quality. So we know eventually everything will just kind of catch up to each other once we start getting into the later episodes. Yeah. We know we have a dedicated listener. Yeah.
we started out with 2 microphones for 3 dudes, and now we have a wall of ring lights.
A wall of ring lights, 3 cameras going, and a bunch of shit. And this is all because of you guys, really.
It's all your fault.
It's all because of you guys, really. Yeah. Well, none of this would be possible. I mean, it's not like we have, very many patrons or anything like that, or really anybody. We've sold 1 T-shirt. A T-shirt. So thank you very much.
Yeah,
to
whoever
the person
bought
who
that
T-shirt.
Thank
you.
you.
It was none of our moms. It was somebody else.
Ryan's sister did buy one. So thanks, Gab.
Yes.
But at the same time,
Someone other than Gab bought one.
We also all bought our own hoodies, but like whatever, it's fine. They're in the mail.
1 out of the 6 things wasn't us buying it, so that's what matters most.
So thanks, but
We're trending upward.
yeah. But the point that I'm trying to make is thank you all for listening, because you inspire us to continue spending our money on more stuff and to spend our time on more stuff. I quit my Tuesday job in order to do this. We're all turning down work and making sure that this is a priority. So we can be here for you guys. But now, so let's talk a little bit about intensity, right? So the longer you've been training, the more intensity, the larger tank you have, right? The longer you've been training, you have a larger tank. That I think goes without saying. That being said, though, you need to push yourself and not just say to yourself like, oh, I'm a little sore today, I need to do nothing, because by the time you start moving, that's really when you should gauge how your workout's going to go. Do a little warm up and then see how you feel.
And that excuse making can start with something that was legitimate. Like I had a rough week last week. I told you guys about that. Like we recorded last episode, I mentioned something with my heel. Like I woke up one morning, I couldn't put any weight on it. It was really rough. But that extended a few more days longer than it should have, because I was walking on my heel and I was perfectly capable to train, but just mentally I didn't give myself a chance to train. I was also very busy, but there was opportunities for me to train. I failed to maintain intensity last week, and I paid for it this week. These are things that happen to us. We cycle in and out of our routine, and we try to pick up the pieces where we can. But as far as maintaining intensity goes, there definitely was an opportunity for me to at least feather the gas. And I missed that. I swung and I missed, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I made that mistake twice in my training career. Like, once with my knee and the second with my hand. Like, I had some pretty serious injuries, and I had to get surgery for both of them. And, after I got those surgeries, I, didn't train. I just, sat home and healed. But, everything else turned to shit. And Sifu Lloyd, when I had my cast on my hand, he would tell me, he's like, dude, there's absolutely no reason why you're not doing squats and horse stance and forms to the best of your ability. And then I was very humbled by a 9-year-old yesterday because I remembered myself in my mid-20s with I had pins sticking out of my hand, and the doctor had warned me, if I mash them, it's going to hurt really bad and it might fuck up the surgery. And so I was nervous. I didn't want to do anything. And here's this kid who's got his arm stuck like this because he hurt his elbow, and he's doing his forms to the best of his ability with his arm and a thing, and he's 9. So he's tougher at 9 than I was at 25, 26.
Well, Ed, in your elderly age, you're brittle and broken. So just,
my body is broken.
Just give up.
Just quit.
Just quit. Just quit now.
Just quit.
Yeah.
When in doubt, quit.
No, but I mean, so that was the big mistake that I made, because I took so many steps back. Years of progress gone in 3 months of sitting around, you know, and then having to start back up again, Yeah. It's really hard. And I did start training again once I got the pins out. Once I got the cast off and I was just kind of in an air cast, I started training again, once and they pulled the pins out a few weeks after the surgery, and then I started training again. But I should have been doing planks. I should have, there's lots of exercises I could have been doing. And there's lots of form work and stuff that I could have been doing that I just wasn't doing. I wasn't driven and I wasn't motivated in that way, right? Yeah. So that's really where it all comes from, because you have to find a why. Because if the why is abs, unless you're a fucking narcissist, it's never going to happen. If your whole why is abs, or your whole why is to show somebody up, you're going to get lazy about it. And people do that constantly. You live this dream and you want to be this person in your head, but you're so far removed from that, I used to look at Seagoing and I'd be like, oh man, I'm so far from that. I'm so far from that. I can take a day off. It's going to take me years to get there anyway. What's one more day? Mm-hmm. But at the same time, that's one more day further from your goal, and that all adds up and adds up and adds up and adds up and adds up. It's one cookie becomes 2, becomes 3, becomes 4. Next thing you know, you're 1,000 calories over your daily limit. Right.
Right. And Ryan and I actually had a conversation on the phone yesterday, just talking about if I go long enough without training, I just don't feel myself. And my wife even noticed it too. She's like, there's something wrong. You're not quite you right now. It's honestly been the last few weeks, but that's another thing. And as much as I felt like just.
You thought that noise was bad?
Oh, here we go. Ed mouth ASMR.
Someone just poked a hole in the bottom of a fish tank.
I'm sorry, you were making a good point.
It's all good. Yeah, so my wife said that I haven't been myself recently, and it's because I was resting my heel, and then that snowballed, and I waited too long, and I could have been training, and I just it really got to me, and today, I didn't hydrate enough last week as a result of that, and I cramped up big time during our workout, but we'll get into the workout later, but if there's any message I just want to transmit is to really, there is time to rest. There's an appropriate amount of time to let yourself heal. You have to do that right, but you also can't take advantage of that and get lazy from it, which is something I fell victim to last week. So
even if your body is completely destroyed, you can still meditate. You can still do your qigong. You can do standing posture. You can do something, I mean, obviously, if your back is broken and you do yoga, you're going to have some difficulty. You know what I mean? But
I recommend deadlifting 800 pounds.
But really, what's the purpose of training every day, right? The purpose of training every day is that's our new slogan on the back of all our shirts is Kung Fu every day. And now I want to stress that this is not just for the Kung Fu practitioners, because Kung Fu is skill through time, right? The characters for Kung Fu literally is work and man.
Work a man Dan.
Work a man Dan.
Man work.
Yeah, work a man
Welcome
Dan.
to man work.
That guy wears overalls and no shoes.
That's the real name of the Bodhidharma is working man Dan.
That guy's
Man Dan.
feet has biceps.
He's got to cut his eyelids off, and he's officially him.
Nevertheless, though, think about that for a second. It's skill through time. So Kung Fu every day. So you put that work in every single day. That's what that means. Not that you're doing your Bak Mei every day, your Shaolin every day, your whatever it is every day. It's not about just the martial art. It's about work. Work every day. Be better every day. 1% better every single day. I mean, I know we hate on ourselves a lot for our fucking ridiculous ADHD and sense of humor and how terrible the jokes we make can be sometimes. But nevertheless, that's also good for us for our mental health, because that banter, that friendship that we have, it resets us and it adds levity and it makes life worth living. It really makes life worth living. What's life without laughter? What's life without fun? What's life without time with your friends, with your kids, with your pets, with your family, with whatever it is? You know what I mean?
I'll tell you what it is. Garbage.
Yeah.
Garbage.
Why'd you point at Ryan when you said garbage?
Just look at him.
Point. But Kung Fu every day, that's what it's about, and that's what fell off. So it's not literal Kung Fu every day, and it happens to me too. All the time. And sometimes, sometimes you feel depression set in, or you feel anxiety set in, and it really weighs on you, and then you need to take that break. So the other part that we were talking about is when breaks are justified, and I think we're segueing into that pretty nicely. When bears?
It's not going to make it in the mic. My landlord's
Okay.
garbage.
Yeah. So it just distracted me. I was like, they're bears. Raccoons.
So it's a giant big wheel tricycle.
Yeah.
Especially a bunch of raccoons stacked up on top of each other with an overcoat and a
trench
hat,
coat.
pretending.
He's
You know what
trying
I mean?
to buy movies to an R-rated, buy tickets to an R-rated movie.
Yeah.
John, it's us, your landlord, which isn't 9 raccoons. We're taking out the garbage.
We're not stealing your garbage.
This
to
isn't
eat
our
later.
lunch. I mean, it is. It isn't.
But now, so when is it justified to take a break? Right?
Mm-hmm.
When is it justified to take a break? Because I know this is something that you stress a lot too, and something that you make sure that you have a good, you try to make sure you have a good balance for your own mental health of work, friends, life, and it can be very stressful and very difficult. And last time we were talking about time management, poorly as all hell, but we were talking about time management nevertheless.
We manage 0 time.
So when is it that you need to take a break, right? And so when you need to take a break is when you know that you're going to benefit from that time off. If that time off to you know that you're fucking off, don't take the break. But if you're really looking forward to that break time, then it's productive.
Yeah.
Right? Then it's restful. Then you're sitting on the charger and you're filling your batteries up, right? Because there's something about when you decide, fuck it, I'm just going to play video games today. I'm not going to do shit. I'm not going to take care of anything that I take care of. The whole time you're sitting there, you have a little bit of that stress and anxiety about all the other things you could be working on sitting there on your chest.
Yeah.
But when you've kind of tackled items on the list and you say, you know what now? I really deserve to take a few hours for myself. And you take those few hours and you own those few hours. So it's also about the mental state when you take the break.
Yeah.
So if you're taking a break and you're going to sit there in anxiety that you haven't been working enough lately,
it's not a break.
then maybe get back to work,
But also, you're not even going to enjoy the break either.
Right, so
it's
what's
like
the
you're not
point?
even enjoying it. If you're just sitting there I need to be working. Then like it's like then you might as well, like you said, like you might as well then just work so that you can feel better. Because a break, it needs to be rejuvenative.
That word.
Rejuvenative. We're gonna rejuvenative.
Yeah, that's.
It needs to be that. Because if it's not that, then it won't be. So,
Is it a word?
Day.
Who knows?
Help!
Help me!
Help!
Word. So, right, I was going to ask you that. So, what are some things that you look forward to in when you take a break? What are some things that you use to, I really need to relax. I really need to do this. I really need to, I think I've done this enough. What are some things you look forward to when you take a justified break? Or is it just TikToks and boobs and?
Just Pornhub.
Well, it's hard because I have to say like that's something that I'm still struggling with is building my schedule and structure in a way where I can be proactively taking breaks in a way that is built into my overall game plan. But I would say for me, time that I like spending is like either really just I would say it's more like feeling like justified friend time, like built around like, hey, I killed it last 2 or 3 days, so like tomorrow. I'm going to be with, I'm going to catch up with one of my friends for the better part of the day, and we're going to hang out and get dinner and stuff. Like, either, I would say, good social family or friend time, or even, honestly, this is more, I think, of a guy thing, but, even quality, Xbox time with friends, doing, stuff like that. That's,
yeah.
In a lot of ways, that's, considered, a hangout,
there's lots of girls, there's lots of girls, especially nowadays, that like to play video games, too.
Oh, it's not specifically a gendered thing. It's just, it's probably a more wholeheartedly shared male experience with the wabbits. Elma Fudd. And then also, being able to, especially, I like trying to get outside, doing, stuff in nature while I can, going on nature walks or trying to go paddleboarding.
That's really a rejuvenating experience.
Oh my God, yeah.
That's really a rejuvenating
Dude, literally.
Yeah.
Getting outside. We should do that later.
You want to go on a walk or something?
After we record, we should find a trail and get outside.
We could go skateboarding.
I don't have my longboard.
We can't go skateboarding then.
Yeah. It's at home. Sorry.
No problem. Yeah, that's a good idea, though. If the weather holds up, yeah.
But I literally, the other day, I went up to the bluffs, walked around, found a rock, meditated for 7 minutes, and it was the best meditation of my life.
I found a rock and I hurled it to Connecticut.
One of the highlights of my those core memories of things that you'll never forget that really you cherish.
Yeah. You mean trauma?
First time you take a man's life.
Yeah.
Or you learn how to ride a bike.
Yeah, whichever.
Thrusting my thumbs into his life waters.
It's not like watching the life drain out of the enemy's eyes. You know what I mean? But
just went from family VHS family home video to all quiet on the Western Front. Just when you run a bayonet through another man.
How wholesome memories. You ever think about killing anyone?
So we took a family trip to Ireland. My it's a fucked up story, but my parents actually were in a car accident, and while they were in a funeral procession, and my mother's neck got injured, and she sued the person who hit him. Right? They got a settlement. They paid. We got the money, and my mother had an operation and was feeling better and everything like that. And she had to have a disc in her neck fused. And
Wow.
And we took that. She took that money and she just surprised us. And she was like, "Listen, I know I could use this for the mortgage. I know I could use it for bills. I know I could use it for debt." She goes, "But we need to make some family memories before you all move out of the house, because we were all getting in our 20s and everything like that." And I was going back to school, talking about going back to school. I hadn't gone back yet, but I was talking about going back to school. I was about to get my knee surgery, And she's like, "We're going to Ireland. Fuck it." We were going to go to England originally. We're all big Doctor Who fans, so for our people in the UK, didn't like Capaldi. I'm sorry, okay? I'm a David Tennant guy. Apologies.
I don't know what any of that means.
They will. But nevertheless.
Ryan and I.
Ed just spoke Spanish.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay. But that didn't end up working out. We ended up going to Ireland, and I couldn't be happier. My friend Megan, hi Megan, we went to high school with her. I'll say her last name later.
Hi, Meg.
She was studying.
You don't have to say
She was studying in Ireland, and we ended up getting our first hotel in the city in Limerick where she was studying. Oh, cool. And she showed us around first couple of days. We went to Bunratty Castle. We had a great time, great experience. I'll tell you about the whole vacation. The highlight that I'm discussing We went to the Cliffs of Moher, which I hope
crazy.
I hope to go with you guys there one day because it's
they're amazing.
Absolutely. You've been with your grandfather, right?
I've
You went
been
with Poppy?
twice.
Went twice, yeah. So we went to the Cliffs of Moher, and like my sister went one way, my brother went with my parents, and I was like, peace, I'm walking. And I just started walking the coastline, walking far enough that like there was nobody around. I walked off the trail. I climbed down, which you're not supposed to do. I do not recommend this.
Don't do that.
The police are on their way.
I climbed down. Well, it's not safe. I could have fallen and died.
Wait,
but
yeah,
like,
people
whatever.
die off. People because they're like the edge, and then it's like the wind is like 1,000 miles an hour because it's like a 600-foot cliff.
Yeah.
and it just yeets them into the water, and then they die.
Yote into the sunset.
Yeah, literally.
But there was this little nook, right? And I found this little nook, and I went and I parked myself in it, and it was just enough that like my head was covered like a foot or two, and I could sit comfortably. There was enough room that I could like lay my water bottle down and my cell phone and everything like that. And I think I still had like an iPod. I don't even fucking remember. I'm getting out ahead of myself. But
iPod
like
Shuffle.
I remember I put on
Stick a gun?
Radiohead's OK Computer
Great album.
and listened to the album from top to bottom.
It's a great album.
And then I was just sitting there kind of like listening to it, just watching for a while. Then towards like the second half of the album, it starts getting slower. And then you start getting into The Tourist, the last track. The Tourist, which is like 12 minutes of just a lot of ambient music and everything. And I just sat in meditation, and I had an eyes open meditation. Right? I was actually reading a book at the time when the Buddha walks into a bar, and it's a meditation book, and it's like meditation for the modern person, and he was talking about like how sometimes when you meditate, you should meditate with your eyes open. You should just find something to focus on, and we do that sometimes at the school too, where we'll have like a candle in the middle of the floor, and we'll just focus on the flame, and just try to focus our intention, focus and let go of the monkey mind, and just not even thinking like I am watching a flame right now, but being like just looking at the flame and just experiencing it for what it is. And I was trying to do that with my surroundings, with the ocean in front of me, thinking to myself, oh my God, for the first time in my life, I'm on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean, and I'm looking back at my home instead of the other way around, and just kind of living in that moment and that experience. I'm getting chills talking about it, and like that's like a core memory. That's like a core experience.
Wow.
I don't know how I got to this point, but like, yeah, that
But
was
I'm glad
like,
we're here.
But
we
yeah,
were talking about the getting out in nature.
the getting out in nature. Yeah, but like, just it was cold. It was colder than we thought it was going to be. I was like hoodie leather jacket head.
Yeah.
That was a leather jacket I bought in Ireland that I had for years until it got absolutely destroyed. One of the sleeves fell off. Couldn't save it.
You just flexed too hard in the sleeve.
Yeah, my arms were just getting too big. But seriously, one of the sleeves was like goodbye. But yeah, I got to go back to Ireland to get another leather jacket. Like that,
you're talking about eyes open meditation. I just want to try that really quick. It's not working. I don't think anything happened.
There's I don't know what the word is for it, but there's a word in Japanese that is for tree bathing, forest bathing. It's like a thing that they do of like, hey, walk through nature, because like Japanese society is like.
We have the Google machine.
Japanese society is like, if you die while you're working here, you're fired because you're not working hard enough. And it's like, God.
There's a lot of great concepts from Japanese culture that I love to take with me through my life, like wabi sabi.
Tree bathing. Wabi sabi?
Forest bathing.
I think it's wabi sabi. You should look that up next. But it's this concept of perfection in imperfection. So wabi sabi is like, a lot of times they'll practice it with pottery. They'll break pottery and they'll put it back together with gold to show the beauty in the cracks.
There is something to be said about, really trying to get into nature a little bit more and just, feeling that connection. I mean, I think one of the things with forest bathing, like I'm pretty sure like the Japanese government has like done studies where like they showed levels of like stress and depression and anxiety like go down by you being I think they say like being around trees for like an hour like helps lower stress levels.
I keep kicking the mic, so
That's
I'm so
legit.
sorry for your edit later.
It's just gonna sound like.
Yeah, but like, but not even to mention. So what we're talking about is how to maintain intensity and how to take breaks and when those breaks are justified. So now it's a break without taking a break too, because if you just take some time and you get out there into nature and you get out into the woods, how many times do you find yourself just sitting out there and you start practicing a Tai Chi form? you know, because it just feels good to breathe in all that chi from the forest and to use it in your practice, you know, like to be able to kind of connect while out there and feel that kind of like connection. You know, I believe in this. I'm not saying anybody else out there has to, but like that connection with the divine, that connection that you feel when you're training, that being a part of that jingong, that being the energy, right? So you're being the energy surrounded by life. You're surrounded by life instead of surrounded by concrete and steel. And it's very, very different.
And here's another way to think about it too: is that sunlight is radiation. You know, it's their electrons that have traveled across millions of miles to get to you. So you're bathing, you're soaked, saturated in space particles, dude. It's like, it's a really, really cool thing to think about, because you look outside and you just see an empty yard. You know,
it's also terrifying.
It's pretty terrifying.
The solar flare is going to come and kill us all.
It's happening right now. Did my microwave just turn on? But it's
that was just Putin.
Yeah, exactly. Oh no. You smell chicken. But it's cool. Like, you know, you look outside, you see an empty yard, you see sunlight, you see grass, but you're bathing in sunlight, and it's, you know, the sunbathing is a real thing. Tree bathing is another thing, forest bathing, excuse me. Yeah. I think it's all related, you know, because you can't help it, that emptiness is actually full of energy, you know.
And now another point on like when breaks and recovery are justified, and like how to maintain intensity, continue working, avoiding burnout. Now, like after Black Sash class, I don't think anybody would have held it against me if I said, I'm not lifting today, I'm not training today. You know? I don't think anybody would have said boo to me if I was like, dude, I'm so sore, I'm not doing nothing. Because I felt like, you saw my text in the Black Sash group chat, where I was just like, I feel like I got hit by a Shaolin 18-wheeler. Just like a bunch of monks driving a truck like, with the orange bags, you know? And they're like red checkered shawls, you know, like okay, get out of the way, bitch, you know. Ami Tofo, motherfucker. But yeah, I felt like I got run over, you know. And then like I decided to sleep in that day, you know, and then time opened up. I had a client cancel, and I was like, I could take a break or I could get a lift in. And I texted Jenny because she was off work, and I was like, please bring me pants and pre-workout. And that's exactly, and she goes to me. She's like, I'm gonna start fucking charging you money. And it was like the second thing she brought me that day. She's like, I'm gonna start fucking charging you money. Yeah. She's gonna be taking a day off, by the way. Side note, she's gonna be taking a Tuesday off the next couple of weeks and coming to sit with us. Cool. And recording an episode. That's
beautiful.
Gonna be pretty cool.
All right.
She's gonna come work out with us in the morning, and then she's gonna come record an episode with us. You guys will get to meet my fiance officially outside of, what was it, like episode 7 in my apartment, my old apartment.
Ambient Jenny.
Background Jenny.
In a cupboard. Whoa.
That's one time last episode, one time this episode.
Nice.
Fully synced.
Ed and John,
just
same wavelength.
Fusion dance, just mind meld. But yeah, so that's gonna be really exciting.
I just picture John with long black hair.
So
just with Ed's hair.
I had the time to complete. I had the time to complete the program, to complete the workout. You know what I mean? Like if I had pushed myself and done it, went all the way through, I could have gotten to like squats and deadlifts and everything like that. And I was like, you know what's gonna be more important is just making sure my knees are healthy and making sure I'm working on my strength right now. Okay, I did a lot of intensity yesterday, so let's do just a strength-based workout. And I did the strength-based portion of the squat. I did some warm-ups. I did some power cleans, you know. I could have done RDLs, but my back was hurting, so I was like, skip the RDLs, you know what I mean? I did some banded good mornings to get my hamstrings pumped and fired. I did some if you go to my Instagram, so the podcast Instagram is, I might share some of my stuff to the Instagram if you guys don't mind, but on my Instagram is Shaolin_LMT, and
underscore spelt. Just kidding. No, it's not.
Yeah, could you imagine? It's the longest Instagram handle ever.
Shaolin_LMT.
So I demonstrated this online, but I did a band-assisted reverse Nordic curls. And band-assisted reverse Nordic curls is you're kind of sitting on the tops of your feet, and you lever from your knees, and you're one straight structure from thigh to shoulder, all straight, and you lever straight back and come back up. It's an ATG exercise. Ben Patrick, Knees Over Toes guy, is a big proponent of this exercise for the health of your knees and everything like that. And I've been slacking on my ATG, my knee health stuff, and I've been feeling the inflammation come back, right? So I wanted to get back into it. So I made sure I did those, and I made sure I did my tibialis raises for the front, for the structure of my knees.
Tibby boys.
My knees feel much better today. So that was a much more important way. So it's like it's so the point that I'm trying to make is that it's about understanding what you're doing well enough, or knowing where to find the resources in order to look up and see how you can alter, right? If you have a program, don't get so obsessed with the program that you need to do the whole fucking thing. Because if I did every exercise, I'd be hurt today, and I wouldn't have been able to take class, you know? Mm-hmm. But I did what I could. I felt good, and I said, now I'm going to leave. I left. I took my time doing it, too. And I left. I went to the school. I stretched out, helped with the kids, taught the beginner's class, took my class. And that's a lot. It's hours of stuff. It's a lot of capacity. But I've built up to have that capacity. If you're just starting out, you don't have to do that. But at the same time, don't think that every time you walk into the gym, you have to kill yourself. You don't have to do that. Not every single workout has to be a super intense workout. And now, if you are a student and you're taking class, the most important thing is that you should make sure that you're physically capable of giving that class 100%. And if that means taking a break that day and saving it for class, that's what that means. You know your body better than I do. But
we would hope so.
But that being said, don't fool yourself into doing nothing because you decided that your legs are too sore for you to get up and move. Do 20 bodyweight squats and get back to me and see how you feel. You know. And
Ed, I wanted to ask you, what is your opinion about going to failure in a set as far as weightlifting goes?
It depends on the type of exercise that you're doing. So like, I do go to failure with particular exercises, but at the same time, you want to be working, when you're weightlifting, you want to be working with the concept of RPE, right? RPE is rate of perceived exertion. So rate of perceived exertion for certain exercises, it varies, it depends, you know? Like for a lighter day, you really shouldn't go above a 6 or a 7, maybe even a 5. If you're really pushing it, you're trying to build up strength, and you're in the lower rep, higher weight range, then you can push it to like an 8. And if you're more experienced, a 9, you know?
How do you get to that figure in RPE, like 7, 8, or 9?
Again, it's rate of perceived exertion, so it's up to you.
Oh, okay. So rate your exertion on a level of 1 to 10.
Right, on a level of 1 to 10. So my issue with RPE is my experience in Kung Fu and my constant internal banter of like, pain doesn't matter. You're a fucking pussy. Like, keep going, you know? Because how many times did I be like, all right, I had 315 on the bar. I'm so excited that I can finally squat 315. I'm going to do 3 reps. And then it's like, the first rep felt good. Second rep felt okay. Third rep, now I can't walk for a week because my back is out. Yeah. You know?
Well, it's also the thing of like, of understanding that like, there's practicality to intensity, but it's also understanding when to be intense and at what levels. Like, I know we both struggled with that when we first kind of were both getting into, at different stages, either going to the gym for non-Kung Fu stuff, or because we'd be like, I want to do full body and I want to do this and I want to do that because it's like, that's what I'm used to at the gym, but I'm used to at Kung Fu. And it's good, but like, let's say like when I'm working out, it's like, there's still intensity there for sure. Especially because I'm more in like a
the bottle of it.
You know, more I guess in kind of like a bodybuilding type rep and set range, along with exercises a little bit more. So there is intensity there, but it's not the same thing as like taking 2 hours of Kung Fu, you know, where it's just like stances and movement and jumping and weapons and all that stuff, where it's like, it's a totally different type of intensity and different type of mindset, but it's like, yeah, but your goals and what you're trying to build is a little bit different. So, you know, you don't need to be crawling out of the gym to gain muscle. Like, you don't need to be doing that. Like, you just don't need to be.
Yeah, and like, you have to know yourself well enough to know what to do and what not to do, and you need to learn. The most important thing is knowledge. Yeah. Really. Outside of how much you can lift or what you can do or whatever, it's knowledge. It's not just the exercises, but how the exercises work and what they work. I think the most important thing that anybody who's fitness-minded, and especially a martial artist, you need to learn anatomy. You need to learn anatomy. You should have a general understanding of anatomy. You should have a general understanding of where the key points are in the acupuncture meridians. You really should know all those things. Really. Know where lung 1 is, know where CV14 is, know where CV4 is, do 20, governing vessel 20, know large intestine 4, know lung 5. These are all really, really important points.
Speaking of accidental knowledge of pressure points, I was hanging out with my wife on Sunday, and I had my arm like on the couch. Like,
you're like, hey, honey.
Dude, I was like this, and she was sitting next to me, and she just freaking elbows me right under here. Right, I don't know what it's called.
Spleen 21.
Spleen 20, the 21 spleens.
Fucked
21
up your
pilots?
spleen 21.
21 spleens.
Yeah.
And she just fucking bap, and I went, oh, like whimpered. and her father was like, John, you okay? I'm like, yeah, your daughter just pressure pointed me in the armpit.
Yeah, that area is not.
That sucked.
Not
and I'm like,
good.
she's like, that hurts? I'm like, yeah. And I lift her arm up. I'm like, you ready? And I give her just a quick poke, just like that. She's like, oh. I'm like, yeah, that fucking sucks.
It's like, but you're so big. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
and now for martial artists, this is the other thing. If you learn how to strike there, if you learn get a good phoenix eye, just a good fucking phoenix eye. I don't give a shit how big you are. You get right between, I want to say it's like right between, I forget the exact rib. I can't think of the exact ribs it's between right now, but it's right here. Mm-hmm. It's right here.
Right under the titty meat, right?
It's
Titty meat adjacent.
It's like 2.5 or 3 soon from the axillary.
One of John's fists. So it's
that's so the measurement for distance in Chinese medicine is the width of the patient's thumb. Right?
Ooh.
So, like, let's say I had to go 1 soon away from something to get to a point, I would think of it in the width of Ryan. If I'm working on Ryan, I would think about it in the width of Ryan's thumb. So I can use my thumb as a guide. It's not super exact. You know what I mean? It doesn't really have to be. You know when you find the point. Like, I know I'll be on large intestine 4 because his eyes are going to go, wah. Yeah. so like,
This turns me off.
You've hard reset, Ryan.
Well, but it's also important because, you know, these pressure points, lung 5 is right there, and that sucks really bad. So you can imagine if you're, like, let's say we're working on our Shaolin, you know, and we're here,
okay.
and,
Or
I'm grabbing and pulling, that is really what, just that little bit adds that bit of pain. So that is really what's important. Now, the thing is, it doesn't work if somebody flexes. So if they know it's coming and they flex, it prevents you from getting to the point. But if you can get there, let's say they're throwing a punch and this is open and you come in and pow right into the ribs. You hit that phoenix eye. You get a good shot with the knuckles. You get an elbow in, an inward elbow, or
a little French tickler.
You know, a little French tickler. There you go. A little two in the pink.
Your
one
fingers,
in the stink.
your fingers, someone else's
good
fingers.
Old shocker. You know
Get
what
someone
I mean?
else involved.
Yeah, get a third party.
The minivan.
Third party.
I'm gonna put your fingers on somebody else.
All you need there is a tub of Crisco and a 12-pack of Miller Lite, and you're having a good time, right?
Anywhere.
That sounds like Southern crime. Is what this I'm gonna do something bad with Crisco in a second. It's like, oh no,
we're gonna something that you're not gonna. Whoa,
we got grits and skins. That's all we need.
we got grits and sex crimes.
Oh God.
You know what?
How the fuck did we get here?
You know what? You know what's
It's a slippery slope.
Let
hanging
me
out with us.
complete the point. So, knowledge of these areas, especially as a martial artist, is super fucking important. Super important. Just at the Daily Art of Survival seminar, I forget who it was, but we were talking about it on that episode where he was, I can't think of it off the top of my head right now, but, you know, he had all these charts and all these trigger point charts. And so look at Janet Travell's work. This is all stuff people should be researching, right? Look at Janet Travell's work. Janet Travell is the doctor who invented trigger point therapy. Okay, she literally wrote the book on it. Look at her work with trigger point therapy and where pain radiates from certain points, and then compare and contrast them with the acupuncture meridians, and you will find a lot of similarities. A lot of similarities. So you sit here and tell me that it's not real and that it doesn't work. You know what I mean? Okay. Maybe eating like 2 newts and a ginger root isn't going to cure your cancer. You know what I mean? But like at the same time, you know, like horn of rhino isn't the only cure that we isn't the only medicine that we need nowadays. You
Your
know?
wavy hands can't stop my lymphoma.
Yeah, but it's the Bruce Lee mentality.
the cockiest guy with lymphoma.
Take what is useful and discard what is not. You know what I mean? So there's a lot within Chinese medicine and like ancient Chinese medicine that like obviously is. You have that mix of shamanism and medicine, you know what I mean? Not to say that shamanism isn't medicine, but you know, you have things that maybe aren't so real and things that are real, you know? Like, I would much prefer antibiotic gel in my cut than maggots, you know what I mean? Than like, you know, remember in Gladiator? When he takes all the maggots and he chews them up and he packs them back into the wound, you know? Yeah. I don't need that. You know what I mean? I don't need that shit.
It keeps other maggots away because there's already maggots there.
Right. Like,
Occupied.
Oh, this is full.
I didn't realize somebody was in here. My apologies.
Oh, pardon me.
Yes, pardon me.
It's like maggots like driving past a parking spot and they're like, oh, it's open, and there's like a bike in there. They're like, fuck,
son of a bitch.
God damn it.
A smart car. A smart car.
Of all fucking, and you had to pull up that far, you know, like
really?
yeah. But again, the point that I'm trying to make is that it's important knowledge to learn. If you're learning exercises and you're learning how to train, the most important thing that you can do is to learn, you know, modernity, learn modern science and modern ways of fitness and exercise, and be up on the current research, and also learn the old ways and the traditional ways. And not to say that like you're going to learn something from your Sifu and you're like, that's wrong because somebody told me never put my knees over my toes. It's like, don't get too ahead of yourself.
Somebody's wrong.
Yeah, somebody's wrong. One of you is wrong, you know? It's like some people say your horse stance, your feet should be out this way, right? Because it's easier on your ankles. But we push and make sure our feet are straight and we root in our horse stance. And we do it until our tendons and our ligaments get used to the exercise, which some people will be like, oh, you're going to give yourself tendinitis. And it's like, yeah, you will if you never recover, if you never heal and you don't stretch or take care of yourself whatsoever. You will get tendinitis, which just means inflammation of the tendon, you know. But is it going to be true tendinitis where it's a permanent chronic condition? You know, if you got bone spurs, you got issues, obviously you got to take things with a grain of salt, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was talking to my sister recently about how I wear my Zero shoes a lot. Not recently, not since the heel thing, just because I needed some cushioning.
You gotta let things heal.
Yeah, because it is you can hurt yourself.
You gotta let your heel heal.
You can't hurt. Yeah, exactly. I let my heel heal.
Let your heel heal.
But I was talking about it with my sister, and she's like, oh yeah, I need like. You know, I need support in my feet because like I got plantar fasciitis and it never went away. And I was like, okay, you know, well, like I remember having a bout of plantar fasciitis when I first started doing this, when I first started kind of like acclimating my tendons to this whole thing that we do. And yeah, with stretching, with hydrating, and with exercise, and with just giving it time to heal, it went away as it is destroying my living room. And I can't imagine like what kind of constant conditions someone needs to be under in order to have plantar fasciitis forever. I'm also not an expert. I don't know if it's something that's chronic.
It can be. It depends. I find oftentimes it's more people's inability to take care of it than it really is actually with something that'll never go away, you know?
Yeah, because I was doing stretches with it and stuff.
If it hurts. That's the thing.
Is that bottom of your foot?
Yeah. So
your plantar fascia.
So you can. So this is how I think of the body, and this is part of why I'm successful in what I do. You know, I think of things as one piece. Another person to look into is Thomas Myers. Thomas Myers wrote the book Anatomy Trains. And I'm not sitting here saying that I've read all these books cover to cover. What I am saying is that I've looked into them. Okay, I don't know everything. I'm not an expert. I'm enthusiastic, and I'm continually improving my skills 1% every day, right? In everything that I do.
This many percents.
Just one. Juan.
Uno.
Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan Kenobi. So, what was I saying? Plantar fasciitis, yes. So, think of the Achilles tendon and the plantar fascia as one piece. So, instead of thinking of the Achilles tendon as ending at the calcaneus, which is the heel, and then going back over into the sole of the foot, think of it as one big piece, right? Because it's a nervous pathway as well. It's the pathway of the sciatic nerve, right? So if you think of it as one piece, you can also be stretching your calf and getting more range of motion. So sometimes people do, they just roll their foot on a tennis ball and it hurts, and then they don't do anything else. But they also have no ankle mobility, right? So a good metric is in the mobility of these joints and keeping mobility within the joints. You should send her to me.
Yeah. But that's one of the things you told me to do is to stretch my calf, and that would in turn pull on the plantar fascia and do its thing.
And now you're good.
Yeah.
I mean, your heel was unrelated. I feel like
I was striking the cement with my heel too much. I was running across into traffic in New York City.
But that's also a problem. But that's also so like and again, before the comment section goes crazy about stuff like that, John has come such an unbelievably long way with his physicality and his body. I want people to see. I don't want them to see the videos and be like, Ed's the experienced Black Sash. Ryan is the less experienced yet more bouncy and naturally talented Black Sash, and John is yet just a high yellow Sash. And and judging us based on this, I want people to see everybody in a way as equals when we talk about in context of the show and in context of the content that we create, because we all have strengths, we all have weaknesses, and we all have places that we're coming from, right? We all have things that we could be working on. You know, like I know Ryan's going to beat me in a striking match any day of the week, but I know that if I get my hands on Ryan, he's not getting away, you know? And at the same time, I know that if John hits me with a good punch, I'm done. I'm gone. I was holding the bags. You know, you talking about 10 years of experience versus 3 years of experience. And
versus
even
big
that,
legs.
with his natural fucking just weight and ability to move it, I wish I had a different fucking kick shield. Because, like, even
one that
Ryan
worked.
kicking full force, I'm just kind of chilling. And he's hitting the bag hard. I'm moving, but he's hitting the bag hard. It would hurt if I didn't have the bag, but nowhere in comparison to the power that this man is putting out.
Yeah, I literally
just
had, like...
folding me in half. Ryan was all red.
I had, like a welt, like, on my stomach from just my arm hitting my own body from the bag. From him kicking the bag.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shitty Amazon bag in the first place, but still, you know, it's
filled with newspaper and nickels. Everyone gets hurt.
And failed expectations.
Yeah. But at the same time, you guys really should have seen where he came from and where he was when he started. You know, I mean, I worked on you a lot. We helped loosen a lot of things up and get a lot of things moving that weren't moving.
Like Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah. But dude, I'm telling you, you're a different human being than when we first started working together. You're a different human being than when you first started training at the school.
I mean, fact, when I first started training, I'm down 40 pounds today.
Yeah. But think about how much muscle you put on too.
Yeah, but I'm still down in weight, you know.
Look at these fucking things.
Look at these fucking things.
That's all gun right there, bro. That's all gun right there. That's solid fucking shit.
Yeah, bro.
That's solid shit. That's all guns. And so, like, you know, he's got a lot of muscle mass on him. And so, you know, your gait is something you're still working on because there's tightnesses in your hips and in your back that sometimes when you're trying to run across the street, you don't have that ability to get onto your toes and sprint forward yet. And that's why we keep pushing you to do more running and to do more midfoot stepping and walking. You know, I think that's a good exercises for you to do. It's not all just about lifting and all about doing form work. There's other things to do. You know, the monks would run, the monks would walk.
I mean, I had a pretty good gait today, though. When we were running, I was striking with the forefoot pretty well. I mean, I don't even know how many laps. My watch said it was like almost a mile, so just as warm up.
Yeah,
you know?
heel striking while running is like the other like antiquated fitness myth that I would like to dispel, as well as the whole like don't put your knees over your toes bullshit. Like none of that's real. Mm-hmm. None of it. Do you jump off your heels or do you jump off the ball of your foot? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so it doesn't make any sense.
That thought just gave me shin splints. I think.
Yeah, and like if
jump and land on your heels.
And if you're trying to jump, do your shins stay like this, or do they track forward so that you have that spring? They track forward. Any basketball player you're watching going across the court, their knees are in all different kinds of positions. So don't sit here and tell me that like your knee should be directly over your toes and you can only lunge one way, and it's like doesn't make any fucking sense.
You must run in a knee brace.
Yes, just let's destroy your meniscus. Turn your meniscus to chalk powder immediately. You know, it's so
looking like a pepperoni.
So absolutely ridiculous. But that being said, you know, there's a level of internal strength that you need in order to push yourself through this. And, you know, we all have had lots of examples and lots of people that have inspired us to have internal strength. But John told me a story the other day.
There's this high-pitched whistling.
There's just a man outside with a boat whistle.
There's just something going on out there.
Is he, like, summoning something?
I don't know. If we see Cthulhu, I think we'll know.
Remember that Godzilla cartoon where he'd hit the button and Godzilla would show up?
I do remember. It was after Godzilla 2000 or whatever like
that. Yeah.
It was the same animated model.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do remember.
Is that going to be a problem?
I'm going to close the windows.
Okay, take a second. Take a break.
Be right back. So on the topic of inner strength, I had a moment at work recently that was really eye-opening. It's really something I think I'm going to carry with me forever.
Hey, when you were telling me about it, and I like felt your emotion even through text.
Yeah, this is like at 1 a.m. It's at midnight, and I'm not going to name any names, and I'm not going to name where I was at or what this person even does. But it was just for the sake of not saying names. So I was working, and you know, this guy, you know, I'd seen him earlier on, and the way I saw him was on a monitor, and he was sitting at a desk. So, like, I didn't think anything of it, you know. But it turns out this individual has MS and is unable to use his arms or his legs and is wheelchair bound. And so our tech manager came in and was like, all right, we got to help this guy move his wheelchair from his workstation to the hallway. And so she's like, we need help. You guys want to come help? And I was like, yeah, I'll help out, no problem. And so it was myself and like 4 other guys. We walk in and there he is, and it's my first time seeing him in person, and he's got one of those electric wheelchairs, and they're like, all right, so he says, so the best way to do this is the strongest guy in the room comes over and holds me up, and the rest of you guys move the chair out from under me and into the hallway, and then you set me back down. And so everyone just immediately like, all right, Gordo, you're in, you're up, kid. And so, yeah, I mean, and I'm sturdy, and so here I am, he asked me to put my arms under his arms right here, and I lift this guy up, and it was intense. It was really, like I didn't want to hurt him, it was a really important person for the company I was working for. And he's like, yeah, just like that, bring me in a little bit. Now I just need to get my hips under me. So if somebody want to push my hips under me. And so another guy comes in and like pushes his hip as I break my keyboard. And it's like, he's having a hard time standing up. And I really feel for this dude, and it was intense in that, like, here I am, like holding a grown ass man in my arms, and helping him out. And it was something that I think is a really, it took a minute for me to really process it,
Mm-hmm.
So, holding him up, and then the other guys are like, moving the wheelchair out of the way. And he's like, yeah, just go like this a little bit, like, pull me in and push me back. He's just trying to get adjusted. And, as much as it was sad to see, it was also really, really, it opened my eyes big time, because, we sit him back in his chair and I thank him and I shake his hand and I go to reach out and he can't use his arms either. And so, I grab his hand and I say, it was great to meet you, and it's when the thought occurred to me. I realized, like, this guy travels every week for work. Like, he works so freaking hard all season, and he doesn't let that get in his way. He literally, like, he can't walk on his own. And, like, I know people that deal with a tenth, not even a tenth, like a fraction of what this guy does every single day, and it makes them quit. They crumble beneath a flea's worth of pressure, and this guy has insurmountable odds, mm-hmm. and he doesn't let it stop him, and he's on the road. He's been doing this for years, and he does it with a smile, and it's just. And I think about that interaction. He said, "All right, well, we need the strongest man in the room to hold me up," and like, that's the strongest man in the room is him. It's that individual. Like I said, I just don't want to say names or anything. But I think about that a lot, and I none of us, nobody I've ever met has come close to the inner strength or the mental strength that this person had. I just cannot fathom, because it's got to be so easy to want to quit, But here he is, just hustling day in and day out for multiple years, traveling around the country, putting in work with a smile on his face and putting out a really, really good product. And I was really taken aback by that, and made me feel like a bitch too, because I'm like, man, my life is good. My life is really good, and I don't always feel good, and I don't think I have an excuse anymore. Like, I don't think I have an excuse to just lay down and say it's over and say I quit, because like this guy over here is just owning it and just absolutely running through life, like I said, with a smile on his face, working so hard, and he has no ability to even walk. So you take that moment, and I immediately texted Ed, and I immediately, just sent out a message like, guys, we need to talk about this, because I can't believe what I just witnessed. Like, this is just such an eye-opening moment for me. It's a really good, it really kickstarted something, and as much as I said last week, I was on my heels, pun intended. I didn't take advantage of the time I had. I didn't really work to my full potential, and I could let that thought stop me, or I could use this as motivation to move forward, and just like, yeah, I can get up in the morning and take a walk to the fridge, and take a walk outside, and I can put my socks on by myself, like, that's a blessing. And I don't think I have a reason to complain about anything anymore, man. I really don't think there's a single thing that I should let stop me and or you guys. I think there's a lot to be grateful for.
Well, I quit, so.
It's all over.
This is really awkward, but this was going to be my last episode.
Yeah, like setting up the lights was like a little much for me, so I don't think I can do this anymore.
I got a little sweaty, it's just a little sweaty. I got to go take a shower.
Kermit the Frog here. But yeah.
Kermit the Frog.
That was actually kind of good.
Kermit the Frog. Kermit the Frog here.
Oh, that's good.
Kermit the Frog here.
That's really good.
Kermit.
If anyone ever needs someone to be hired to do Miss Piggy doing karate,
There he is.
let me know and I'll do it.
But yeah, that is the long and short of it.
Really.
That's an excellent Miss Piggy.
Wow, what an awful, cold-hearted segue. I'd be like, yeah, so we're done with that shit. Who wants to make some Muppet jokes?
Yeah, meaningful,
Yeah.
meaningful,
then
intense
he's just
story.
going,
Here's Miss Piggy.
No,
Ladies and gentlemen.
yeah.
Now we moved off the MS segment. Here is Miss Piggy doing karate.
Yeah, so I mean,
Well, okay, so get your hand out of the puppet's ass. He's like, oh, here she is.
why is it wet?
Yeah.
That is such a level of disgusting. That is just. Why is it wet?
I thought this was a puppet. I thought it was a puppet. Oh man, the ADD does take us places.
Anyway, yeah. Well, it's more like breaking up the intensity with humor.
It's what we do. This is our coping
Yeah.
mechanism. We take something really serious and fucking Miss Piggy.
And then
ruin
ruin it.
Because like you texted me that, and I was like, fuck. I got mad at Jenny the other day because she didn't unlock the door while I was on my way home, and I had to carry bags in. I didn't want to have to reach for my keys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, I'm coming home. Why don't you just unlock the fucking door? And it's like, I say that, and then he says that to me, and then I realize how much of a piece of shit I am.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, God, I'm an asshole. I'm a fucking selfish, ungrateful piece of shit 95% of the time, and so are the rest of us.
Yeah,
You know what I
It
mean?
made me realize just what we take advantage of, what we take for granted. Excuse me, what we take for granted.
Yeah, and it's like, like when you park too far away, and somebody's like, "Oh God, I have to walk." It's like, be grateful you can
Yeah,
walk.
at least you can.
And Shurjiao would say that to Sigong all the time, and Sigong reiterates that constantly to us, that, like, be grateful that your legs are in pain, because some people don't have legs to train.
Be grateful you have legs to feel pain. Yeah, absolutely.
Some people don't have arms to shake and hurt when we're holding out buckets and when we're doing push-ups. Some people can't do those kinds of things. Some people have cerebral palsy and they can't control their bodies the way that we can control our bodies.
Do you think
goes on.
Do you think it's a? I'm sure it's probably either something that's from evolution or just from because I'm sure there's some sort of like cognitive adapting that makes us lack that perspective that like because again I almost like I always use the term like disciplined perspective, where it's like where I think I'm like, why is it so difficult to have that perspective? Like your brain is on such a different. It's like pushing your hair in the different direction. Like against the grain, you're like, fuck, this doesn't feel good, and it's gonna look bad, And it's like hey, like maybe instead of getting fucking annoyed that like someone pulled into my parking spot and I fucking like dropped my keys on the way into the house and I'm holding shit, it's like, yeah, but like I'm coming home to a house that's filled with family members who love me. I have clothes, I have this, and it's like, but not only why is it hard to think that, but why is it also hard to, after you think it, for it to actually like make you feel good, be like, oh yeah, and it actually wash away that in the moment. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of a general question. Like I wonder why we're so negatively wired.
Well, let's take a second and unpack that. I mean, like, like, I mean, the worst thing that's ever happened to you is the worst thing that's ever happened to you. So there's that. Like this guy, MS sets in. So I'm sure there was a point in time in his life where he could walk, which is
even more heartbreaking.
Which not even heartbreaking. That's even more inspiring.
Right.
Because that means he's got that kind of perspective and attitude, regardless of having lost the ability. Ray Charles saw when he was a kid, and then he lost his vision. Like could you imagine? Could you imagine going deaf? Could you imagine going blind? Could you imagine those things?
Yeah.
Like and to still have to live your life and live it well. Then that's the hard part. And then so really what it is, it's about exercising gratitude.
Yeah. That discipline.
But it's discipline, but it's also difficult to internalize it.
That's what I mean.
And also
always sits on the surface.
Yeah, but you know what? Well, you know what it really boils down to. Honestly, it really boils down to, and I'm guilty of this too. We're spoiled.
Mm-hmm.
We're spoiled. We grew up in white suburbia with families that supported us and gave us everything we needed for a long time. I lived at home in my 20s. Not a lot of people can say that. I moved out when I was 18. and then fucked my life up, and then had to come back when I was 19, and then moved out again when I was 23, and then fucked my life up and had to come back when I was 25. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is. Not many people have those opportunities. We have had those opportunities. You've been at home the whole time. You know, your mother and father have supported you through everything. Through college, through the business going great, to the business not going so great, to leaving the business, to starting a new business.
Like some people that don't even have parents, let alone a functional household.
Yeah.
But it's like, but yeah, it's almost like it's making it a daily practice. It's kind of back to the Stoic thing of like the Marcus Aurelius would practice negative visualization.
Right, but you can talk about the Stoicism. We can talk about these things all the time, but how much of it? But to a certain extent, it's just talk. If you're not internalizing it, you're not making it part of who you are. And I think this story that John is telling, and I'm moved by how moved you are by it, which is I think also why I distract from jokes, because I have a hard time processing emotions. Yay. So like, admit I'm spoiled. I know I'm spoiled. I know I've got it good. And I'm still not happy half the time.
Yeah.
You know, I'm in the apartment and I'm like, fuck, I wish I had shelves over here. And I'm upset about it. You know, we have a whole room we're not using, and I'm upset about, like, oh, we got an extra fucking room, we're not even fucking using it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And I'm upset about my extra room. What the fuck is the matter with me?
Yeah.
What the fuck is the matter with me? What's wrong with me? We forget our privileges. We forget our the leg up that we had that other people didn't have. Even our teacher. Our teacher got kicked out of the house when he was 18. You know? Go ahead, get a place, you know? And he's had to live his own and figure out his life. You know what I mean? He's had to live and figure it out on his own since he's a kid. That's a kid.
That's why I was saying with the specific thing I said with Marcus Aurelius is like the practice that he would do, like of negative visualization, be like, hey, like I could maybe like wake up tomorrow and be paralyzed. So like, why not be grateful that I'm not right now? Like all the things that could go fucking wrong that aren't going wrong. Be like, hey, wow, holy shit. It's like almost like it's like making your life into the movie It's a Wonderful Life in like 5 seconds.
I've actually never seen that movie.
Dude, let me
Roberto Benigni of It's a Wonderful Life?
No, that's
Oh, that's
Jimmy Stewart.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's a Wonderful Life is
I'm thinking of different movies.
Now I know what you're thinking about because I've seen that movie too. Nope.
Okay, no.
Dude, that's a movie where you should watch that because every time we watch it for Christmas, I'm like almost crying every time I see it.
Then why are you watching it?
Because I have to feel something.
That's it. La Vita
Life
è
is
Bella.
beautiful.
Life is beautiful. La Vita è Bella. It's an Italian video. Yeah, or video movie. It's a movie.
Technically a video. Well, it's just a long one.
It's a long video.
It's a long boy.
Is that the one with the movie theater?
No, it's the Holocaust.
Oh, there's an Italian movie where it's another beautiful movie where it's like this guy is a kid, and he worked in a movie theater, and then the flame the film was flammable, and like they lose somebody in a fire, and then he moves away, joins the army, comes back, and he had I forget what the movie's called, but maybe you guys will think of it. Like he took the priest in the village that they were showing the movies in would screen every movie and have them cut out scenes that he deemed inappropriate. It's like kissing scenes, sex scenes, all stuff like that.
This is an Italian movie?
It's an Italian movie.
I don't think
and
I've
he would
seen
cut and he would have them cut the dirty parts out, and like late
dirty.
spoiler alert, later in the movie he comes back and he finds out that this person who had passed away had saved all his clippings because the kid had strung them together because he was like a teenager and he was like, he made a dirty movie, you know? So he had strung them together, and then the end of the movie they were like, we found something that he had saved for you that made it through the fire.
It's his
and it was
porn.
all the it was
It's
all
porn.
the porn. But it sounds dirty, but it's actually like it was actually a touching moment because the guy was like, he's moved away, I'll save them for him, you know? Because he like moved, the guy died. It was a really good movie, really really good, touching movie about an Italian village. Interesting story.
So if you happen to know a movie that is, inbox us.
Because we don't know what it is.
I'll look it up later. It's not important.
But but I kind of again raised that question in a really just for coming from such a place of real genuine curiosity of like, man, like I wonder what it is about the way that we're wired that makes it so difficult to. I mean, again, that's what I was saying is maybe it's just so quickly adapting to our You move into a new house, and then after a while, it's not a new house; it's just your house, and then it's just a place for you to get messy and a place for fucking.
Thing.
Yeah,
I'm sure
you find enough pee stains. And
Think about how much stress and excitement there was when we first moved into this place.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now we're there like 6 months, and I'm like, I can use a bigger backyard.
Yeah,
Like,
it is crazy, and I really think on an individual level, but also on a societal level, I think this is kind of where it turns into growing on an individual level and and trying to really move forward with self-mastery, because if not, that's how we keep moving into like, oh, the internet's not fast enough, we gotta put the internet in our brains, we'll put a chip in there so it's faster and more convenient, and I can do this and you can do that, and it'll be great, and it'll be just a little bit faster, and then it's like we're slowly melting society
It's like that Louis C.K. bit where he's like, it's gotta go to space and come back. Give it a second. You know? Give it a fucking second.
yeah, that's so funny.
It's a friggin' astronaut, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The internet is an astronaut.
Yeah, but it's it really is just so crazy though. Like again, I think about it to myself where like if I don't like, why is it so hard for me to remind myself and be present with the things that some people have never experienced in their life before, that I completely take for granted as normal life.
Well, because we are all we're all in a way sometimes, ingrates and spoiled brats. All of us, every single one of us. And not just the three of us. I mean, everybody.
And I think it comes from also, again, it's almost like being spoiled is like the after effect of it's like a negative effect of normalcy almost, in the way of like you get used to it and then you're just like, this is how it is, and it's like, yeah, but it's not how it always could be.
Well, it's like the social commentary. Last night I watched a movie that I think it's like 5-6 years old. That movie Elysium I was telling you about, Matt Damon movie.
Matt Damon.
We just glued all of our brain cells together to like put out that one sentence.
Matt Damon.
The last remaining brain cell.
My one dying brain cell. Yeah, so, and the social commentary being made by that movie is, like, obviously, like, the disparity between the rich and the poor, and then it gets to a level where all the rich are living in a space station in this, like, beautiful environment, and then all the poor are living on the planet and, like, have nothing, have absolutely nothing. It's, it's,
happening. It's real.
But it's
right now.
It's the thing, like, I think
we have space billionaires.
Jodie Foster, I think it was the actress. I think.
No, it definitely is. I originally said Judi Dench when we were talking. I was like, Judi Dench? I was like, that's not who that is.
I was thinking Jane Goodall.
But Jodie Foster's whole thing in the movie is like, like we start letting these lesser thans essentially come to where we are, and then our life is, they're going to interrupt our way of life and our way of being. And instead of like offering aid and meeting people where they are, and maybe taking a little bit off your plate to make sure the starving person next to you eats, and what do we do that with? Time? Money? What do we do to help the community outside of like help change people's minds and help us be better? But like that's the whole point, That's the whole point of martial arts, is to discipline yourself into being the kind of person who can emotionally handle the baggage of being a caretaker.
And that's why it's also, again, kind of goes back to the kind of like what's on the fucking merch, like train for life, Kung Fu every day. Like,
we train for life.
It's again, just as you said, it's not just waking up and doing horse stance every day, which would be pretty good. But it's also, it's
a good plug though too. It's good, shameless, tactless plug, but a plug nonetheless.
It's what we do.
If you're plugging, it has to be shameless.
I'm kidding, but that is why I chose those words.
Yeah, no, but because it has more to do with a universal mentality than physically training. Because it's not just, hey, I can sit in horse stance for a long time and do my forms really well. It's like, yeah, but like outside of training, are you a dirtbag? Maybe don't be, because then you're.
I was for a long time.
It's almost like being really good at weightlifting, but you have awful flexibility. It's like you need to be well-rounded.
Can I help you? I help you.
I wasn't trying to distract you. I just wanted to pull the doc back up.
Okay.
It's like Kung Fu every day and training for life is like legitimately training for different aspects of life, which is not just the physicality and being physically healthy, but also being mentally and emotionally healthy, keeping your relationships healthy, keeping your social dynamics healthy, keeping your spaces healthy. You know, it's what, you know, as above, so below. What is within is what is outside of you. It's all a reflection of yourself. Your life is a reflection of what's going on internally.
I know for me, knowing I was getting ready to test for my black sash, being a red sash and like getting ready to test for my black, and then being in my black sash has changed me. And we've talked a lot about the progress I've made. We don't need to continue. But for you, how are you kind of like mentally and spiritually? Because physically we already know about. It sucks. But
And I'm fucking yoked. So
Yeah.
that's
Yoked
taken
as
care of.
fuck.
But my brain is skinny.
yeah, but now,
Lean
like, so,
brain.
like, mentally, I know it's only been a couple of months, but like mentally and spiritually, are you noticing any of these wake up calls? Are you feeling anything? How are you acclimating? Like, what's going on internally now that you have your black sash?
Yeah, I would say it's definitely a big wake-up call in the sense of just general responsibility and accountability, and slowly seeing the almost like, and I mean this in a positive way, but the ever-growing cliff of responsibility that, you know, I am climbing, and we're all kind of at different spots on at the current moment, but it's like seeing like, hey, like, you know, this is not just like any other sash. You know, like black sash is like, one, it comes with its own level of expectations in general with martial arts. So like, hey, you're a fucking black belt. Like, oh shit, like that's, you know, there's a certain expectation that comes from that. But like, especially me knowing how our school works and how important, you know, how important application and being able to put your money where your mouth is, and what type of training we do, being like, hey, like, not only do I know how fucking hard it is to get a black sash in our school, but being like, hey, like, I am a Sigong Greg authentic Shaolin Kung Fu black sash. There's been, you know, there's like 10 to 15 active ones over his like 35 years of teaching. It's like, that's no fucking joke, you know? So but there's a certain level and standard, not just of training and physical output, but also character output and mental output of like, hey, like, I need to show not only how, because I'd be doing Sigong a disservice and the school a disservice if, like, yeah, it just is kind of to a similar point. If I'm really good, if I'm really skilled physically, but then other teachers or people look at me like, yeah, this guy's kind of a scumbag, though. So it's like, what are they teaching him about himself? And what are they teaching him about, like, what's the personal development? Because if that's not there, then they're just creating monsters, you know, which is not what our school creates. Monsters. That's why people get kicked out. That's why people don't make it. Either because they can't handle it themselves, they don't have the physical and mental strength or drive to continue, or they have that but they don't have the integrity and the character that is required. It's not a singular requirement of like, are you good at Kung Fu? It's like, that's not enough. It's not enough to just be good at Kung Fu. You need to be good at Kung Fu and be a good person with good high character and good standing values.
Don't be a douchebag.
Don't be a douchebag.
Just generally.
And
you know?
that's the other big
So
part
that's
about
what I'm
Kung Fu.
trying to strive for, and that's what I'm sorry, but just that's what I am, to kind of wrap it up in a nice box. That is what I am seeing, and that's what I'm starting to understand and trying to enact this more wholesome, multi-part view of what it takes to be a black sash, and that's kind of what I'm discovering and what I'm trying to enact to the best of my ability.
You know what the biggest thing I could say, honestly? The biggest thing that this has, like, one of the biggest changes I've made that has helped me and accomplish all this stuff too, and put all this work in. Not to say that, like, I always could be working more, I feel like, but at the same time, like, I do a lot, you know?
You do a lot.
Go to bed and then get up when you say you're going to get up. That's, like, the best piece of advice I can give to anybody out there doing anything is go to bed at a reasonable time. Get up early. If your work schedule prevents you from getting up early in the morning, I get it. But get up early. Get up earlier than you think you can get up. Get 8 hours. Get 7-8 hours. Do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Get up early. Get out of bed. What I do is I set my alarm for 45 minutes before I want to get up. Because I know myself, and I know I'm going to turn my alarm off 3 or 4 times, and I know I'm going to roll around, and I know I want like 10 or 15 minutes to have the cat right here. And you'd be like, scooch, 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 scooch. You know what I mean? I know I need that time.
Morning eye cat dander.
Yeah, yeah.
Just wake up like, like in the middle of an allergic reaction.
Yeah.
My alarm is my anaphylaxis.
Well, it's the same. It's the same every morning. Like, I open my eyes and she's in a ball right next to my face. So the first thing I think in the morning is, like, oh,
The baby.
You know, the baby, yeah. But like, or she's literally like draped across me. I have pictures of this. I should post them on the
Noodle
Instagram.
mode.
Yeah, seriously. Just like across my face, like this, you know? Like on my neck, paw on my face. Sometimes she'll rest her chin on my cheek.
That is adorable.
And it's like, it's illegal
It's so
to move
adorable.
her at that point.
Yeah.
You know, it's against the law.
Your day starts when her day starts.
But cats aside, like, I know I'm going to take that time.
Mm-hmm.
And I also know that I'm going to get up and give her food and then go back to bed for 10, 15 minutes. I know I'm going to get up for a second, stretch for a minute, and then lay down and just kind of be for 10, 15 minutes. And I don't necessarily need to take that time, but I really, really enjoy that time in the morning.
Yeah.
Because then I'm conscious, and then, you know, my wife-to-be is there, and then I can kind of, she's waking up, and we can kind of hang out with each other for a couple of minutes. I can check my emails real quick and first thing in the morning and like lay in bed and check my emails and see what my day is going to be like and kind of think about what I got to do, you know. And then I try to pack my bag the night before. It doesn't always happen, you know what I mean? Like, so, and that's the other thing, prepping yourself the night before. Like getting all your stuff together, packing your bag, filling your water bottle, like doing all that stuff the night before. Like that's
I find too,
important.
even because again, this is something that I'm over the last year or two, I've really been trying to work on structure and like more in a more disciplined way. But I found, and again, I don't do this every week, but I try to make it a point to do this. Is again either the night before and or on like Sunday, try to plan for the next day and or plan for the week. Like even me having, because again, my schedule is a little bit more flexible with me doing like Uber Eats and other stuff and like Kung Fu and personal training. Like, you know, I can kind of mix and match things. So it's me I know for me, it's like having a general rundown of my schedule on each day. Be like, okay, Monday, if I'm going to do personal training this day and I'm going to do Kung Fu here, then I can do Uber Eats at this time. And then what am I going to do regular work time? So it's like, but if I didn't do that, I'd be like, my week would be like in shambles. You know what I mean?
But the point that I'm trying to make is that there is no rest day from that. There is no rest day from the getting up early. You don't go, it's Sunday, I can get up at 11, because then your whole week is fucked. Because you're going to throw off your circadian rhythm.
Yeah, you do.
You need to have a start time for your day every single day. My day starts at 7 a.m. Boom.
Yeah. Even if you go to bed late, it's still important. Like even if there's a day where you go to bed late, it's like they say it's still
important to get up.
Get up when you are.
Yeah, I mean, like obviously, like if it's the difference between 3 hours or 6 hours of sleep, get the 6.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But don't be stupid. But like even then, get out of bed, start your day, do something. The first thing I do in the morning is I get up and I brush my teeth. I have a glass of water and I feed the cat every day, and that's those are the moments that gets me going.
I got home from work at about midnight, 12:30. I woke up 6:45 for our morning workout.
Yep, about the same. And you know, I got home. You know, class ended at 9:30. I crawled off the floor, and we were shooting the shit. I didn't leave the school till 10. Went and picked up dinner to get home till 10:30. Wasn't finished eating till 11:30. You know, got to digest. Wanted to finish the movie. Fuck it. I went to bed at 12:30 again. I was up 6:30. You know,
we texted each other. Good night.
We did actually.
Good night.
We did. I was literally laying in bed and we turned the lights off and I'm texting the group chat and Jenny's like, "What is that, your girlfriend?" And I'm like, "It's literally it's my two girlfriends."
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
But it's
Yes,
but you know, so like, and we're not advocating that, like, you know, sleep when you're dead, all that bullshit. But like at the same time, I'm fine right now. I'm fine right now. I'll go to bed. I'll go to bed early tonight, and I'll catch up a little bit, and I'll get some sleep and some recovery.
It's all. See, the issue is, it's like if there's a day or two, let's say, or like even a week where like sleep.
You need 5.5 hours of core sleep to reset your brain. You need 5.5 hours of core sleep for your brain. You need a little bit more than that for your body and for recovery and everything like that. But really, it's 5.5 hours of core sleep. That's what you need.
Yeah. Just as a general rule of thumb, try to get no less than 7 if you can.
Exactly.
Try to give yourself 15 to 20 minutes to fall asleep.
But these are all caveats so that the health and wellness community doesn't come after us for saying that you don't need
I got you.
sleep,
It's just with general rules of thumb, it's like if there is a, you know, there's a difference between like what you're saying of like, hey, if there's a couple days this week or like even a week where like, hey, listen, kind of batten down the hatches, and sleep is going to be, which I struggle with of letting go of sleep sometimes. Sleep is going to be kind of fucked. That is different than like, I'll sleep when I'm dead, and your whole life is like that, and it's like, okay, it's not. And listen, some people, even if it is sustainable, it doesn't mean it's healthy.
Right.
It's not the same thing. You getting 4 hours of sleep, you're like, look how tough I am. It's like, dude, that's not healthy. Like, don't do that. You don't have to do that.
Excuse me.
Because like you getting 1 or 2 days of fucked sleep is built within.
And I wouldn't even call 6 solid hours fucked sleep.
Well, that's not what I'm saying. I just mean it's like, if let's say you get, for you, fucked sleep 1 or 2 nights.
Yeah, that's like 3-4 hours. Yeah.
That's built for you. That's still built within a larger schedule of rejuvenation and healthy habits. You know what I mean?
Right. The first thing I did this morning was I reached out to like 3 different massage therapists to see what I could get later today.
Right. You're in tune and in touch with your body and your schedule and what's happening. But John, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, I mean, as far as getting enough sleep goes, man, as a freelancer, as a freelancer, I got to build my schedule and stuff, and I don't always get in and out times. I'm not really always aware of, like, if I accept work on a date, I'm not really always told the start or end time. Mm-hmm. Which turns out this gig I got on Saturdays is a 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. So that's a very long day, and it's a very lucrative day. But the night before that gig, so this Friday coming up, I accepted work in Atlantic City. And so that gig probably ends about midnight, and I need to be in Manhattan at 9 a.m. from Atlantic City, finishing around midnight.
So your boy's staying in a hotel that night.
Your boy is probably going to jet back after and sleep in his car. I mean, because I'd rather sleep near the city or get a room there, like nearby.
I would Airbnb or something.
Yeah, there's got to be something nearby. But like, I didn't do that deliberately. But holy fuck,
there's sites for last minute stuff that makes it.
I have Hotel Tonight. I have a few. I always find a spot.
Yeah.
This isn't the first time it's happened to me, but that's not things that I plan. Those aren't things I even recommend. That's really, really ugly.
Want to take my truck and sleep in the bed?
No, I can actually. I fit in my RAV pretty well. I just laid it down the back and just. But I'm probably just going to get an Airbnb or a hotel or something.
I would not sleep in your car in the city with the condition of the city these days.
No, you're absolutely right. I'm probably going to get a room, but I definitely need to get a room in the city. But they're giving me a room in Atlantic City, but I don't know if it's a good idea to use it because if I sleep in an AC, it's still another 4.5 hours to get back. So it's gonna. Yeah, I need to just get on the road.
Yeah, there's just no like any way that's not.
I didn't realize it was that far from Atlantic City to Manhattan.
It's at least 4 hours. Yeah, so
that is fucking crazy.
Yeah,
talk about you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, I took the work and I'll take the work every single time, but I just didn't know if the times are going to line up like that. So pray for me, boys and girls. Yeah. It's going to be a rough weekend for your boy.
Yeah, and this, but and this is also I think this is a good place.
Yeah,
we're at a good place.
I was going to say.
Yeah, so guys, I say this all the time. We love you very much.
Yeah.
We're very blessed and honored and grateful that even if there's just one of you that views this video or listens to this podcast or whatever it is, thank you so much for doing so. If you've made it this far and you want to support us and you want to support our dream and our vision of being able to do this full time, you click the link at the bottom of the description, go to our Patreon and become a $5 a month subscriber. That just tells us that you want us to keep doing what we're doing. You'll also get a sticker. So
it's good for both of us.
Yeah,
think about that.
Good for both of us. More direct way to support is to share our posts. That's the most really. If
you know anyone who you think could benefit from listening or being part of the community,
share the episode to your story, share the posts. That's really the best thing that you can do for us is to help us get our word out there in these early fledgling stages of this show.
Yeah.
Tell your friends.
And I'm trying. I design all the merch. I do it all on CapCut. I'm not CapCut. I do stuff on CapCut, but Canva. Mm-hmm. So shout out to Canva. You guys have made an excellent platform for someone who knows nothing about graphic design like me to be able to kind of design and do these things and make these things. And I work really, really hard on picking the right things and sizing everything and coloring everything the right way and making it look good. And I really hope you guys enjoy the merch that I've created so far. So we've got some t-shirts, we've got some hoodies, we've got some slides because I couldn't not make a pair of slides.
You need some flippy floppies.
And I've got some more stuff in the work that's going to be coming out in the next few weeks. Like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah, just
give
engage,
us 5 stars on
interact.
stuff. We really, really, really appreciate it. Happy training, guys.
Yeah.
Don't don't sleep on an opportunity to get some training in, even if you're really sore. Not a day should go by where you don't at least practice some of your Tai Chi and your Qigong, if that's what you practice. A little bit of internal work, a little bit of mental training. That you can do every single day without falter or harm to yourself. And,
Yeah.
John?
Well, thank you to our Instagram followers. Thank you to our patrons. Thank you to our Discord members. Thank you to all of our fans.
Oh, wait, no, yeah, join the Discord. Like, how did I forget about the Discord?
Gotta
Join the
Discord.
Discord.
We have a Discord chat, and it's getting to the point where people are starting to communicate and talk with each other.
It's
you know?
sentient.
It's
alive.
it's not just me egging on conversation. You know what I mean?
talking.
Like
Y'all
people are
becoming
actually
friends.
giving each other advice and asking for things and sharing memes. We have a whole meme page, which is great.
The
You
meme
guys-
machine.
We can upload short videos. So if you guys want like tips and tricks and stuff like that, or upload your advice, or just upload your training and share it directly with us if it's not social media. And
And
stuff
we
like
talk.
That.
We talk on there.
And we talk on there. So guys, you know, it's a community of martial artists and individuals who want motivation and to crack dirty jokes, you know?
Yeah.
So
Well, thank you to our Instagram followers. Thank you to our Discord members. Thank you to our listeners. Give yourself time to heal. Do yourself a favor and wake up early. And be thankful for your hidden gifts. This has been the Martial Mind Podcast.